Good afternoon and welcome to today's webinar. We're going to go ahead and get started now. My name is Julia Middleton and I work with the Rural Health Initiative. The mission of the RHI is to engage partners to share ideas and expertise and to support communities in improving health while stimulating a higher level of wellness across the state. I'd like to thank you all for joining us today for the webinar RHI Incubator Mini Grant Program Past Success Stories, which will feature previous mini grant awardees. The incubator is designed to help rural communities hatch and grow projects aimed at improving community health through RHI's 4 focus areas: trails and walking, community gardens and youth nutrition, health fairs, and worksite wellness. The intent of this program is to stimulate the creation of more prevention and wellness activities across Montana that aim to reduce the incidence of obesity and related diseases while promoting health, wellness, and overall fitness. This year's applications will be due no later than Monday, April 2nd at 5 p.m., but we encourage you to apply earlier. A link for more information about the incubator program will be on the screen at the end of the presentation. So today you will hear 4 success stories from across the state. Kale from Pend Oreille County used incubator funds towards the gardens at Pend Oreille Medical Center in Conrad. Beth will talk about the Sanders County Backpack Program in Thompson Falls, which addresses youth nutrition. Jessica applied incubator funding to the Toole County Trails to Good Health program in Shelby, which incorporated both a walking program and a health fair. Jennifer used her mini grant towards the Gardening with Kids program in Kalispell through the Parks and Recreation Department. So just a few technical details before the presentations begin. All lines have been set to mute. You may press *6 to unmute your line. Again, that's *6 to unmute. And at the end of the presentations, there will be an opportunity to ask questions. So without any further ado, we'll go ahead and have Kale present on the gardens at Pend Oreille Medical Center. Kale, if you want to unmute your line and press *6 to do that.
All right, can you hear me?
Yep, sounds great.
Extended care facility connected to our rural hospital. So what we worked on with the RHI grant, we've got a very small patio area out back for our residents of our long-term care. And although there's a nice covered patio back there, there really wasn't much else. There's a couple of gardens that have been neglected for quite a few years. So what we used the money for, you can switch to the next slide there. I'll tell you a little bit, I guess, about why we're doing this. As most of you know, nursing homes are places people would rather die than live in, and we're working really hard to change that here. We're trying to create a more vibrant, exciting place to live. I mean, if you got to live in a nursing home, this is the place you would want to be. So developing these gardens is part of an outdoor project to make the outdoor space as nice and welcoming as possible, not just for our residents, but for their families, the entire community. So our vision is to create this place where elders can grow and thrive through close and continuing contact with plants, animals, friends, family, children. Bring these folks that, as you age and go into nursing homes, you kind of separate from the community you were involved in before. A lot of the folks that live here were community builders. So we're trying to kind of bridge that gap between our residents and the community, and this is one of the ways we're trying to do that. We purchased quite a few things with the grant money, materials for raised garden beds, soaker hoses, timers, so we can better keep things watered and growing. And the gardens themselves this summer were just a great point of interest for our residents and things, places for them to gather and grow things. So it's been nice. You can go ahead and switch the slides. I don't know if very many of you are familiar with what's called the Eden Alternative. That's kind of our guiding force here. The Eden Alternative is a philosophy that believes boredom, loneliness, and helplessness are what truly kills people in nursing homes. We do a good job treating ailments but it's the holistic treatment of the person's soul that folks really need when they're in nursing homes. So that's kind of our guiding force for a lot of these projects we're doing. We've had a lot of interest from the community, the Conrad Garden Club, the high school horticulture programs, FFA. They've all been getting involved. As you can see in this picture here, that's the FFA class installing the raised gardens that they built. We did learn a thing or two about them over the summer. They get too hot. It's hard to keep them watered. So we're going to deepen those a little bit, make some adjustments, and improve upon that. And the residents all had a great time watching the kids with that project. It brought a good amount of energy and life to the patio this summer. Go ahead and switch the slide. A couple other things that we got, this little water feature, we don't have it out right now just because that's what happened with one many years ago. They got a nice fountain, left it out, and it froze. So we did purchase a new water feature, and that will be going in this spring as soon as it's done frosting. Go to the next slide. So it's basically just the beginning. We've got the little patio area. It's looking really good. It's a nice, welcoming place. But we've got this, as you can see in the picture, a great big backyard. And our plans are to put in a nice walking path. We've got some funds that have been donated by a family that should cover most of that. It'll be a big loop so we can take residents out for walks. Our hospitals don't have many sidewalks, so there's not a whole lot of places you can take residents out for nice long walks. So our vision is to create this area complete with sidewalks, a playground to bring children in, grandkids, the residents, staff, kids, that type of thing, neighborhood kids. We would have put sensory gardens around the walking loop, places for folks that may not be able to see, to smell and touch and feel different textures of plants. We've been looking into projects that have been done in Bozeman. This is the school for the deaf and blind in Great Falls, and kind of seeing what they've done as far as sensory gardens, and hope to get something like that started here. And like I said, the RHI grant has been great just to help us get the ball rolling. We've got a lot of interest in the project, a lot of enthusiasm, so hopefully we can keep the ball rolling. And maybe when we check in a year or two, there'll be playgrounds and sidewalks and more gardens out in that big open green space. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kale, and the progress you've made so far is incredible, and we're really looking forward to hearing about what the next steps are and how things develop. It just sounds like an awesome community project.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your help, and I'll keep you all posted.
Yeah, we'd love to check in again soon. Our next presenter is going to be Beth. She's from Sanders County, and she's going to go ahead and tell us about the backpack program. So I'll pull up these slides real quick. All right, Beth, if you want to press *6 to unmute your line.
Okay, am I here?
Yep, we can hear you. Sounds great.
What we have here is a backpack program that we started a while back. And just for overview of Sanders County, just an overview, Sanders County is 2,790 square miles, with 1/3 of our county being on the Flathead Indian Reservation. We have an unemployment rate of 15.2%, the second highest in the state. The six schools within our county range from 58 to 95% eligibility for free and reduced lunch. Families here, they have no jobs. It is just really hard county. They have no money to pay bills, enough to even purchase 3 meals a day. Unfortunately, this leads to chronically hungry children. Next. Our objective is to feed our kids. We want to improve the health and welfare of our children. We send them to school to get an education, but what is it if these children are not alert enough to grasp what is being taught? started the Dennis County joined the Montana Food Bank Network and Rural Health Initiative Incubator program to launch a backpack program, providing children weekend meals they can rely on. Next. In this program, children are determined chronically hungry by their teachers. This is done by noticing specific signs from a student. The teacher then fills out a referral form having many questions identifying being chronically hungry. This in turn is given to the school coordinator, generally the principal, who watches the children to see if there is consistency with the children's performance of being chronically hungry. From determining that, the child receives food each weekend. A letter is sent home explaining the program to the parents. A few parents have declined this, feeling that they can't provide enough food for their family. Everyone participating generally feels, like for me, I feel a lot of relief being able to do this, and the kids are very grateful. As many kids come back to school on Monday, are reassuring that they're going to get their meals on Friday. We have, I know on this particular issue right here, we have 2 children in Thompson Falls alone that have been on this program since the very, very beginning, and that's their biggest thing on Monday morning. Are you going to feed us again next weekend? And to me, I would have such a hard time looking in those little tiny eyes, knowing that we are able to feed them, and for the sadness and their insecurity, knowing that we're the only ones that can. Their parents can only provide so much, the food banks, can only get out so much per family. So to me, this is a really, really big issue. Okay, next. Next slide. Okay, my job as the coordinator is to coordinate between all 6 school systems in our county. And of course, in all our school systems, you have elementary, junior high, and high school. So some of them are a 2 building, and some of them are a 3 building. But still, we keep records of kids from the ages of 2 to 18. And I do all the ordering. I have to account for all the weekends, holidays, teachers' training days. So I want to make sure everybody has enough to eat until they come back to school and receive the free and reduced lunch. Each school receives their deliveries every 6 weeks. Some schools are not big enough to provide the space to keep all the supplies. Because when you're talking 6 weeks supply, in some of our schools, that's a pretty big supply. And so I get together with some senior centers. There's a couple of particular banks that have extra storage. And then I have to find volunteers to move the food from a storage unit over to the schools on Thursdays or Wednesdays, day week or 5-day week, or a 4-day week in school. And so that is a really big deal, making sure all that's coordinated together. And actually, it's really pretty fun doing it. Okay, the next slide. Go ahead, you can move the slide. Okay, I'll just keep going. Okay, there we go. The cost of the program this year alone, $34,000. To break down the feeding plus or minus 134 children every weekend from the 1st to the 1st of June. Each child receives 1 bag of food for every 2 days at $4 per bag. The bags contain 2 heaps of shelf-stable juice, milk, cereal, fruit cups, and some type of a protein, like chili or spaghetti with meatballs, macaroni and cheese, beanie weenies, anything like that at all. Okay, next slide. Sanders County does not have the money to fund a program like this. It provides me as the coordinator to run it. So besides doing all the ordering and everything, I have to help find all the funds through the grants, foundations, local businesses, and private donations. The Rural Health Initiative mini grant has been a great support to us, of which we hope will continue. Originally, this program started with 60 children in only the Thompson Falls School. Then in September 2010, Plain Schools joined. As of June 2011, when I took over the whole program, I advanced it throughout the entire county with six school programs when I had my oldest son, he was, 5, and I had a brand new baby. And by the time that baby was 6 months old, my husband had lost his job. I didn't have a job. So I know what it's like to look at little faces and wonder, where's the next meal coming from? So to me, this is a real big personal issue as well. It's a big thing for me. Are there any questions?
Beth, this is Julia. I'll just go ahead and encourage the audience members to save their questions till the end of the presentation, at which point we'll take questions about all the programs. But thanks for the really great work you're doing up in Sanders County, and this is a really important issue, and it's hard to focus and get a good education when you're hungry. So I'm glad that you guys are doing this and are continuing to support the community in that way. It's really phenomenal.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll go ahead and move on to the next presenter, Jessica, and I'll go ahead and pull up those slides. Jessica, if you want to unmute your line by pressing *6.
Okay, this is Jessica Brusman.
All right, you sound good, Jessica. Go ahead.
I am the marketing director at Marias Medical Center and also the Toole County Health Foundation director here in Shelby. And so that's why I became part of this program. I'm also a member of the Healthy Toole County Coalition as well as the Toole County Wellness Committee. So our program was twofold. We did the Toole County Wellness Program for the employees of Toole County as well as our hospital and nursing home and Heritage Center. And also we sponsored the Toole County Health Fair. Okay. As for the wellness program, we had over 70 participants in teams of 12 different teams ranging from 5 to 8 members per team. It was a 14-week walking program, went from Memorial Day through Labor Day, and each participant tracked their miles that they walked with. They rented a pedometer from the facility and tracked their miles, and then we averaged out the miles per participant on the team. And what we use the funds for is for incentives for the program. We actually gave out community Shelby Chamber bucks, which can be used at businesses within our account or within our city. And on the next slide, you'll see our top team received $20 in chamber bucks for each member. Second place received $15, and third place received $10 in chamber bucks. And I just put the mileage on there just because I thought it was amazing how many miles the teams logged, how important and how they took pride in the program. The blood, sweat, and radiation team logged 615 miles. Second place, solely for fun, walked 486, and the Heritage Center logged 481 miles. So, I mean, the pride that they took was amazing. The upper left picture is the blood, sweat, and radiation team, and then the bottom picture is the first and second place teams combined. Okay. As for the health fair, we held our health fair on October 14th this past year at our local civic center. It was free admission, and other incentives to bring people into the health fair was the reduced cost for the lab tests and flu shots. And then we also offered noon talks by our physicians. I think we did one on mental disorders, one on addiction, and women's health. And we probably had, I'd say, 20 to 25 people at each of those talks, so that was well attended. We did have 53 booths, some local vendors as well as benefits in Great Falls joined us, as well as Kalispell Regional, and then a few from the surrounding communities. And in those booths, they offer all different kinds of free screenings to the participants. We also provided free transportation by the Toole County bus service. Our attendance was amazing. We hadn't had one in a couple of years, so we were very proud to have over 150 adults. And then we invited 7th and 8th graders, and then the one high school class, one science class in the high school, and then also Sunburst for is the purchase of a juice machine was our big door prize, and then some of the other booths brought door prizes as well. And we also provided little manicure sets for each visitor to the health fair. And everybody was pleased with those. As for what's on the horizon, we're continuing on the trail to good health. We had great response from the community. The one thing that we would kind of like to do is outreach into the community a little bit more and encourage other businesses besides just county employees to step up to the plate and offer similar programs within their employment. And so we're going to continue the walking program this summer, but also incorporate giving people the option to run or bike or do aerobics, different things, and transfer it into walking miles. And currently we're running, we're doing a heart healthy month. We started in February and we're going through the end of this month. And each day has a different activity, and then there's small incentives for the person that does the most activities. And some of those ideas are, some of them are food related, like giving up caffeine for a day or no sugar. But then there's also exercises, like one day with 100 lunges, 75 push-ups, different things that people can do to get moving. And then we're also going to continue with the annual health fair, which will be October 12th this year, just to continue to promote healthy lifestyle.
Hey, Jessica, that was great. Thank you so much for letting us know about your walking program, the Heart Healthy program, and the health fair. It's great to see that you could apply the funding to so many different areas to improve the health and wellness of your community.
Yep.
We'll go ahead and move on to Jennifer's program, Gardening with Kids in Kalispell. And I'll go ahead and pull up those slides. Jennifer, if you want to unmute your line by pressing *6.
Okay, I'm here.
All right, sounds good. I'll just get those slides up.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
All right, thank you. Hi, everybody. I'm Jennifer Young, and I'm a recreation superintendent with the City of Kalispell for the Parks and Recreation Department. And last spring, we started Gardening with Kids program. You can go to the next slide. Go ahead. Okay, thank you. We started the Gardening with Kids program last spring with the availability of the RHI grant money, and we were very successful. And the key for us for being successful was the partnerships. We already have, the City of Kalispell has a community garden available for our residents. And the City of Kalispell Parks and Rec is a partner of the community garden, so it was easy for us to get a garden plot. This year we got a 15 by 50 plot for the kids. We have a after-school program that we run during the school year, and we average about 45 kids a day. And then in the summertime, we have a summer day camp when we average 70 kids a day. The City of Kalispell has a 15-passenger van, so we were able to provide transportation to the garden with the kids and a couple of counselors. The picture of the 2 kids and the counselor, they're harvesting right now. We always had 1 to 2 staff with us. The grant money helped us. We didn't have any of the equipment. We had the garden plot, but we didn't have any of the tools. So the money was available to purchase, hose and hoses and fertilizer. And we did everything organic, so all the organic fertilizer, the seeds. We did get a discount from one of the local hardware stores, so there's another partnership, and they gave us a discount on all the equipment, all the materials. And then we also had a partnership, and we still will continue with School District 5 with their IB program through Flathead High School. And the high school kids helped us when we weren't able to get to the garden. We got to the garden 2 days a week, and the IB program, high schoolers students would come and help when we weren't able to get there to water and weed and that kind of thing. For me, you know, I've been in the field for 23 years, the Parks and Recreation field, and this was one of the top 10 programs that just, you know, made me feel really good about what we're doing for the community and also the kids. A lot of kids this day and age don't know where our food is coming from. So, you know, I always went to the garden, and the picture on the bottom is actually, I'm in the community garden for my own family. So I would be able to go through my garden and their garden and point out what the plants were. A lot of kids don't even know what the plants are, what they are, and so that was really fun to kind of teach them. You know, this is a potato plant and carrots. And you can go to the next slide if you'd like. And what was really awesome about it is you can see in all the pictures once or twice a week. It was usually average about once a week, and we were all the way through mid-October. We were able to provide healthy snacks once a week, and a lot of these kids hadn't ever tasted maybe a radish, which kind of surprised me. So, you know, it's really, really enjoyable to see these kids eat something. Some of them didn't like it, but, you know, and we made fresh salsa, fresh salad. We always brought carrots in and cucumbers. I just was so excited about it. It brought such joy to myself and the counselors and the kids. You know, sometimes some of those kids aren't going to like going to the garden, but, you know, there were, I would say a majority of the children really looked forward to going to the garden and experiencing the whole realm of gardening. What we're planning on this coming summer is to continue to have a garden plot at the community garden that we have, and also School District 5. They just hired a new gal that's really into healthy choices, and so we're partnering up and going to start another community garden spot just for the kids at Elrod School, and also our summer day camp and after school at Elrod. And Elrod School is a downtown city school, and right adjacent to the school is a park, which the city of Kalispell maintains, and so we're partnering up with them and addressing the issues so the kids, even at Elrod, that aren't in our program, can also participate in the community garden. So I'm really excited, and I hope to be able to apply for the RHI grant again, and it wouldn't have happened without this grant, so thank you very much.
Thanks, Jennifer. I'm glad to hear that the grant has been helpful, and actually for all of the programs, it's really exciting for us on this end to see and hear about what you've been accomplishing and how you continue to move forward to make your communities healthier. It's just phenomenal. I want to thank you all for participating and sharing your stories. We're going to open it up to questions now. I've gotten a few through the chat box already. So if there are other questions, you can type them into the chat box, which is located on the right-hand side of your screen. Or you can also unmute your line by pressing *6. Again, that's *6 to unmute your line and ask questions. Just a few things before we get started on the questions. A recorded version of this webinar, as well as a copy of the slides, will be available at the link shown on your screen. And we'll also have information on the Incubator mini grants, a copy of the application. Other examples of past programs are available on our website at that montanaruralhealthinitiative.info link. So feel free to check those out, and you should also get a follow-up email for attending this webinar that has my contact information in case you have questions or concerns or want to know more about any of the things we talked about today. So I'll go ahead and start. This is a question for Kale. Kale, how were you able to get the residents, community members, and students all to come together during the building process? Did you advertise, or was the collaboration made via word of mouth?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Basically what we did is we just kind of got the word out. I talked to one of the gals that taught up at the high school, Jolyn Petrowski. She heads up the FFA as well as the horticulture classes and ag classes, and mentioned to her that we were wanting to do something like this. They happen to be in the process of building a greenhouse up at the high school, so it kind of fit right into a lot of what they were doing, so there's a lot of enthusiasm from her. A lot of the residents were already using that outdoor patio, so they were excited to have something go in out there. That was one of their complaints, is that there just wasn't, it hadn't been taken care of very well for a couple of years and really needed some love and attention. So basically just asking people to help out. Everybody was more than willing to come in and donate time. We had one of the doctors here and his family came in and helped. We had I worked with the garden club, again, just kind of asked them, told them what we were doing, and they were more than willing to come and help. They even purchased a bunch of flowers for it. We have a group of ladies with our extended care auxiliary that also donated some money to help buy flowers to fill our pots and whatnot. So as far as getting everybody to come together, it was just kind of a matter of somebody taking the initiative to do so and ask people for help. And everybody seems to think it's a good idea and worth putting in some time. So hopefully we can continue that enthusiasm.
Thanks, Kale. Yeah, it's great to see the collaboration through your project. We have another question. I guess this one's for me. Is there a population number criteria to apply for this grant? And the answer, if that is for a rural population, then yes, we would prefer to give the funds to rural communities, which in the state of Montana only excludes Billings and Missoula, but there's no minimum number for a population, just a maximum. Another question for Beth in Sanders County. How are the meals distributed at the schools?
Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay. At the school, usually during the second recess period, like in the junior high and the high school, or the elementary, the principal has a list of, right now she knows them by heart, and she delivers them and actually sticks them in the backpack and then zips it shut so that no one sees who's actually getting them and who's putting them in the backpack.
That's great, Beth. I like that it's, kind of anonymous in that way. That's great, Beth. I'm sorry, my phone was on mute. I'm not sure if you heard my comment or not, but I really like that it's kind of anonymous in that way.
Oh, very much so. Nobody knows who is getting myself. I know every school what child, and only the principal knows, and the teacher. That's it. Nobody else is access to any records of any kind.
Excellent. So this question is for Jessica and Shelby. Do you think that people are more motivated to join your walking program when you use incentives? Do you know what seems to be the best motivator? Jessica, are you still on the line? And if you are, *6 to unmute.
Okay, can you hear me now? I'm sorry.
Yeah, we can hear you. Thanks.
And because when I was pushing unmute, it was right in the middle of your sentence, so I apologize.
No problem. Jessica, did you want me to repeat the question?
Yes, please.
Okay. Do you feel that people are more motivated to join your walking program when you use incentives? And what seems to be the best motivator?
Actually, the best motivator was the team competition. The competition against other departments, because for most of the team, it was one department that teamed up and versus another department, like our hospital competing against the county was probably the biggest incentive. But I think they always, I don't think it really matters what the actual prize is. I think just having something for them to work for is important. The first go around, we gave a water bottle. and that was mostly just thanking them for participating in the program at the beginning after the first month. And so, I mean, it doesn't have to be anything big, just something for them to work for.
Excellent. Thanks, Jessica. And I know that our office is doing an intra-office fitness competition right now, and I think you're right. Achievement and having goals as well as competition is pretty helpful. I have
such a chatterbox. I mean, for good things. You know, you see somebody else walking down the hall with their pedometer on, and they're like, "Oh, how many miles have you put on today?" I mean, it's just been such positive chatter within the facility. I mean, has made a huge difference.
Excellent.
In morale. So, thank you.
Okay, this question is for Jennifer in Kalispell, and it's, what did you do with the produce that was grown? Did it go to the children? Was it used for the healthy snacks? And *6 to unmute that line, Jennifer, if you're still on.
I am. I forgot.
Okay. Excellent.
I didn't realize I was already muted. What we did with all the produce is we provided healthy snacks for the kids. I shouldn't say all of it. We did have an overabundance of lettuce, so we donated that to the food bank.